Welcome to The Explainer. I'm absolutely pumped to have you here today because we're breaking down the bizarre, incredibly fast-paced reality of the modern economy. We're looking at 8 exact paths to wealth right now using direct data from our source. Getting rich today, it doesn't look anything like it did a decade ago. So let's map out exactly how people are pulling this off.
So think about this. Are you grinding for 40 years under fluorescent lights, or are you letting an autonomous AI bot make you a millionaire by next Tuesday? I mean, it's a totally deadpan contrast, but honestly, this is the modern absurdity of getting rich. The traditional roadmap of steady effort is now competing directly with absolute digital chaos. And the crazy part? Both strategies are actually working.
Okay, let's dive into this. Today, we're looking at 4 main categories: the cosmic lottery winners, the slow, steady grinders, the high-risk digital gamblers, ruling the attention economy, and then we'll wrap it all up with a definitive final wealth stat comparison.
Section 1. The Cosmic Lottery Winners. Luck over effort. Our source defines this very first archetype as the Inheritor. And guys, this is a completely frictionless reality. The Inheritor was basically just spawned directly from a massive bank account. Boom, instant access to a private chef and a gorgeous Mediterranean view. Now, people always love to say that having everything handed to you ruins your drive, right? Leaves you with a lack of purpose, and sure, that might be true. But as our source sarcastically points out, it's kind of hard to feel bad for someone experiencing a lack of purpose while sipping a mimosa on a yacht in Monaco on a Tuesday morning. Existential dread just hits a little softer when you're crying in a 2026 electric hypercar, you know?
Now let's see how this builds with our second lottery winner, the strategic heir. Imagine this, a visually flawless 24-year-old playing their part perfectly alongside a 78-year-old billionaire who, let's be real, requires a full-time medical staff and occasionally forgets their own name. When the cameras flash, they just smile and deliver this exact quote: "Love has no boundaries." Everybody knows exactly what's going on. The family, the lawyers, the staff, but man, the performance is absolutely Oscar-worthy.
Because the absolutely crucial point here is the payoff. When the estate attorneys finally mentioned the $120 million offshore portfolio waiting for the strategic heir, they feigned pure shock. But make no mistake, this is literally one of the oldest and most effective wealth plays in human history. It requires zero market risk, absolutely no startup capital, and no corporate competition. You literally just have to make it to the finish line and keep a straight face at the memorial service.
Moving on to Section 2, the slow, steady grinders, working the system.
So there are 2 very, very different ways to grind. On one side, we have the average Joe. Joe climbs the corporate ladder, buys a nice suburban home, takes those predictable annual family vacations. It's all about achieving peace of mind and comfort. But on the other side, we have the ghost grinder. And the ghost grinder lives a life of absolute, ruthless discipline. I'm talking never eating out without a coupon, exclusively wearing clothes from discount racks, surviving on frozen vegetables. Both paths entirely avoid flash. But while Joe seeks comfort, the ghost grinder is aggressively budgeting to quite literally buy their absolute freedom from corporate life.
Just look at how these timelines actually play out. They both enter corporate life in their 20s. But because of relentless discipline and just quietly pumping money into index funds year after year, the ghost grinder quietly wins the entire game and becomes completely debt-free by age 40. No fancy car, sure, but no boss either. Meanwhile, the average Joe plays the classic 40-year-long game. By the time Joe retires at age 65, he sits on a very respectable average net worth of $1.9 million. It's the steady, proven climb.
Section 3. The high-risk digital gamblers, beating the matrix.
Okay, meet the AI crypto degen. Picture a 17-year-old at 3 a.m. on a school night. They get a text about an autonomous AI bot launching a Solana token called Glitch Overlord. It sounds incredibly stupid, which, in this bizarre digital world, means it's a prime target. So they just shrug and throw a measly $100 of pocket change into the liquidity pool. Why not, right?
Well, fast forward exactly 3 weeks. That $100 isn't just up. It is a vertical green skyscraper chart. The AI bot started getting into a massive argument with Elon Musk on social media, the market cap completely exploded, and suddenly that $100 is worth $4.5 million. This teenager is a multi-millionaire, completely stunned, realizing they hit the absolute jackpot simply because they trusted a rogue piece of code. I mean, it is total digital absurdity.
But listen, gambling isn't always about crypto. Sometimes it's about sheer, stubborn creation. Enter the tech builder. They go through this absolutely grueling progression. They launch failed side hustles, their dropshipping store completely dies, their marketing agency flops. They live strictly on instant ramen and cold brew just to avoid getting a traditional job. Then, out of nowhere, they build a micro app that uses AI to translate a cat's purr. The marketing goes viral on TikTok, downloads go completely vertical, and boom, a massive tech conglomerate acquires it for $2.5 million. For the tech builder, this payout is amazing, but the real win was proving they could actually beat the system.
Section 4. Ruling the attention economy, capitalizing on eyeballs. Now, what's really interesting about this is the brutal reality of the content elite. It is the highest risk-to-reward play of the decade. A tiny fraction, literally the top 1%, are printing absolute fortunes right from their living rooms. Through hyper-aggressive branding and relentless content loops, they are literally out-earning professional athletes and CEOs combined. But look at the rest of the picture. The other 99% put their entire digital footprint on the line, risking it all, and the internet just collectively ignores them. If you fail here, there is no polite corporate backup plan. Your entire life is out there for $0 forever.
And even if you are a hyper-specialist, the absolute best in the entire world at what you do, the attention economy entirely dictates your wealth. A global sports icon in 2026 pulls in $120 million a year simply because their sport commands billions of eyes. Meanwhile, a niche specialist, like a world champion chess grandmaster, might top out at maybe $3 million. They are equally brilliant, equally dominant in their field, but this proves a crucial point. To get rich, you don't just have to be the best. You have to pick the specific machine that prints the biggest bills.
Section 5. Final Wealth Stat Comparison, the definitive 2026 scorecard.
And this brilliantly illustrates the massive disparities in the modern economy when we view them all side by side. The average Joe takes a very measured 40 years to reach $1.9 million, while the ghost grinder achieves debt-free freedom by age 40. Contrast that grind with the AI crypto degen hitting $4.5 million in 3 weeks, or the tech builder's $2.5 million micro app exit. Then, over in the attention economy, the top 1% content elite and $120 million sports icons scale to the moon, completely dwarfing the $3 million niche specialists. And then, of course, there are the cosmic lottery winners, the Inheritor and the strategic heir, locking down 9-figure fortunes over a lifetime of simply waiting. The juxtaposition here is staggering. It shows exactly how fragmented, wild, and completely different wealth creation has become.
So the paths to freedom in 2026 are completely wide open, but they all require vastly different tolerances for risk, discipline, and, quite frankly, sheer luck. Wealth today is entirely about choosing your specific game and accepting the unique rules that come with it. So I'll leave you with this provocative final thought. Looking at these 8 paths and these wildly different numbers, which game are you willing to play? Drop a comment below and let me know which archetype you are tracking toward. Thanks for learning with me today on this explainer, and keep exploring.